You're welcome back. Well, the launch of CBN's price verification system is based on the global price verification mechanism guided by a benchmark price. Essentially, the benchmark price will be based on the spot market price obtainable at the time of consummation of invoicing in the market where the goods are traded. We have Martha Samuel Onyanyi, Associate Director, Transfer Pricing Services with Anderson, to speak to the issue of this system, we simply know as e-invoicing and e-evaluation. Hi, Amaka. Good morning.
Good morning, Amy. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. So help us to understand how this verification system is supposed to work, and why should we even have it in the first place?
So the price verification system is being introduced by the CBN to try and verify the prices of supplies and services being paid for using foreign exchange by Nigerian companies. So the aim really is to ensure that the price of the products that are being imported are not, inflated, and then this cost is then passed on to the final consumer. So basically, we all know that we have very limited foreign exchange in Nigeria. So the CBN wants to ensure that this foreign exchange is being directed to payments that are critical for the economy, and that companies are not basically inflating prices and therefore using our foreign exchange to pay for that. So really, that is what the whole system is about, and that's the purpose, really.
Okay, so when you talk about, I just have to ask you this because it was a major part of our conversation yesterday, the foreign exchange. And I think what you just described there is what they call round tripping, when it comes to foreign exchange, and the fact that we have limited foreign exchange. It will be interesting to know if, since this system started, if it has been able to mop up, because the conversation I had yesterday shows that perhaps you still have a lot of foreign exchange outside the system that has seemed not to have been captured yet. So, for the essence of it, is it really working and achieving the goal that it was set out for?
Okay, so with respect to round tripping, it's really a situation where banks are buying foreign exchange and are not using it for the payment. So instead of them giving companies this foreign exchange, they're rather using it sometimes in the black market to make interest. Now, this particular circular addresses situations where companies approach the bank to get Form M, to be able to pay for supplies. In this particular circular, what the CBN is trying to prevent is that the companies themselves are not inflating the prices, therefore, a lot of foreign exchange going out. So this particular circular doesn't particularly aim to sort out round tripping, even though it can have an indirect effect. However, the focus is more on ensuring that the price that suppliers are, being invoiced from abroad into Nigeria is the actual market price. Now, how it's going to work, or how they have planned for it to work, is that companies that would be seeking foreign exchange or looking at processing their Form M would log into this verification platform and upload their invoices on this verification platform. Now, this platform should have what we call benchmark prices, so market prices of goods. And the way the platform will work would be that if your invoice amount is not more than 2.5% of the verified benchmark prices, then your Form M will be approved. However, if it is above 2.5% of the threshold, it will then be queried, and then companies will then have to go through the process of trying to get Form M approved. So that is the focus of this, circular.
So you mentioned the issue of the value. Who determines the value? Or at what point is the value determined?
Very good question, Ini. And this is one of the reasons why this particular circular has been put on hold. Companies have queried the CBN as to how will you determine the price of my products. So for commodities, you were talking about commodities earlier, and you were talking about the price of commodities. Now, for commodities such as oil, those products are publicly traded and the information is readily available. However, not all goods are commodities. There's a significant amount of goods that are being imported into Nigeria that are not commodities. So during the stakeholders meeting, one of the things that companies raised was, how are you going to determine the price of my product, especially when it's not a commodity? And it was clear from that meeting that, the CBN, they're not ready yet to implement this type of mechanism. So this circular has actually been put on hold in terms of implementation.
All right. So also, when you're talking about value, and then I note that one of the considerations is it should be a global, market price. And then you now talk about the issue of overhead costs. Like we know, in Nigeria, we seem to have a very special situation. For instance, for the past maybe over a week or so, the issue of power has gone up. Manufacturers are saying that they're spending almost double what they normally would spend on power. So, these would be important to capture if we really want this system to work.
So for overhead prices, there are really costs that are what we call below the line. So if you give an example of a manufacturing company, the first cost that this manufacturing company would incur would be raw materials for it to be able to manufacture the products. Now, these raw materials, oftentimes, because Nigeria is struggling with production of various raw materials at the moment, would more than likely be imported into the country. Now, the price that CBN is trying to verify for the purpose of ensuring that foreign exchange is not lost is this raw material prices. Now, these raw material prices, the CBN believes that sometimes in some certain arrangements, companies go ahead to inflate the cost of these raw materials. Therefore, more foreign exchange is being used to pay for these raw materials. Now, after you go looking at the raw materials angle of things, then obviously there will be overhead costs that are rising, like you rightfully said, and we can clearly see it as in terms of the inflation. I also realized that bread is now 700 naira. And
yes, it is. It is. Bread is 700 naira.
Yes, that really upsets me as well. But it is what it is. The economy is facing different challenges from different angles, including, the rising cost of overheads, and also even the fact that foreign exchange is also very limited. So companies are having this challenge of, sourcing for foreign exchange to pay for their raw materials, and then domestic overheads. So there are different challenges we're definitely facing in Nigeria. But like I said, this circular is more focused on ensuring that foreign exchange is not lost as a result of overpricing.
I guess one of the reasons this even comes on board is the issue of you've said this like 3 times, 4 times since you started saying the limited supply of foreign exchange, and it seems like a frustrating situation for a lot of business operators in Nigeria. Can we ever get out of this?
Hopefully. I mean, one of our major issues in Nigeria is the fact that we import so many things, and our import versus our export is like light and day. So until we start, and I mean, you were talking about the production of wheat. Opportunities such as, this Ukraine and Russian war should be grasped in Nigeria, and we should look at increasing our production for exportation, because there will be a demand in the world for wheat and other things that, as a result of this Ukraine-Russia war. So definitely a lot of policies driven towards us becoming more of an exporter and less of an importer should help us, manage this issue of foreign exchange.
But Amaka, they said it's people like you who have a taste for imported products that are causing this. You are the ones who don't want locally made products. We tried to do cassava bread, and you did not patronize it.
Well, I would say that I also like domestic. I think I'm a huge patronizer of domestic products. I also think that one of the issues we also have in Nigeria is quality. We do have sometimes the quality of products imported are oftentimes higher than that is, produced domestically. But I am a full supporter of, purchasing domestic products. And I think that would, help us if we all rally together and, build this economy to be more of an export. It would be good.
Okay, not going too much, too far away from what we're supposed to discuss, but you mentioned the war going on in Ukraine, and you mentioned the fact that Nigeria could actually make some benefit from this, you know, the opportunity it presents when we look at the other side. Is it too late for us when we look at issue of oil, when we look at wheat, when we look at even corn? Egypt and Angola are doing so well, you know, trying to, they call it crop protectionism, you know, food protectionism, protectionism. They protect what they have. Is it too late for Nigeria to, you know, at least make a little gain from this?
I don't think it's too late. I think the earlier we start, the better, because opportunities don't wait for, for anyone. So the earlier we pick up on these opportunities, the better for us. But I don't think it's too late.
All right, so some operators, talking about the verification system, now some operators have said that this will only expand the bureaucracy, you know, in the trade space, and then it will increase the cost of trade. What's your perspective to this?
Yes, definitely. I mean, introducing another layer of scrutiny with respect to the process of processing a Form M would definitely increase the bureaucracy. In fact, beyond the fact that, you know, it increases the process, is the fact that this price that CBN is trying to ensure that it's at market price is already being reviewed by other governmental agencies. So if we look at it, for example, if you're importing a particular raw materials, the Nigerian customs would also do some level of valuation for the purpose of determining the price for custom duty purposes. Then CBN also, in the process of approving foreign exchange, are also doing its own level of, you know, check as to in terms of the market price, whether it is reasonable. Then the tax authorities would also review these prices, especially when payments are being made to related parties for tax purposes. So we have 3 different government agencies reviewing the price of the same supply, but they are all not using the same methodology to arrive at the price. So CBN is using its own system that it has come up with. Customs uses its own system, and the FRS also uses what we call different types of methodologies to arrive at the price. So clearly, if all 3 government agencies are not using the same methodology, there's no way they can arrive at the same price. Now, this issue is that it could lead to double taxation. So if customs has a particular price that they believe it should be at customs duty, double taxation, and FRS disagree with that price, there will be double taxation, and this cost would definitely be passed on to the final consumer. So this issue of having 3 government agencies reviewing the same price for the same kind of products really needs to be looked into.
Yeah, that reminds me of the clearing agents. They were on strike some weeks ago. We had one of them to tell us, and it was about this e-invoicing, saying that, you know, it has highly increased their valuation and, of course, increased the taxes and the duties that they have to pay. So what, from your perspective, is the way forward? If the CBN actually has a good objective, you know, which is to deal with the issue of valuation and invoicing and clear the system, and yet we see that it will increase the cost of trade, you know, and of course it will be passed down, and we're talking of inflation and some other issues like that. What is the way forward from your perspective?
We have always indicated that it's very important that government agencies work together, especially when they intend on achieving the same purpose. So CBN, FIRS, Customs, and any other government agency that is interested in this particular, you know, type of verification need to work together to come up with a single methodology that will be used to determining the price of certain products. Of course, it is very important for them to verify that these products are at market price and there's no unnecessary inflation of those products. So, but we must ensure that they're all using the same methodology in order to ensure that the company is not, you know, penalized for this, you know, type of exercise. So definitely, they coming together is important. They also need to look at what has been happening in other jurisdictions. I mean, this is the issue that we are facing in Nigeria. Is not peculiar to Nigeria. Other jurisdictions have faced those issues, and they've come up with some form of solution that is, you know, that is also good for business. You know, at the end of the day, our economy thrives on the success of businesses. So it's important, we leverage on such information, what is being done globally to ensure that, that we can arrive at a good system that works for all parties.
Do you think
so that's my recommendation.
Do you think agency rivalry is a hindrance to your suggestion?
It could be. It could be because, like I said, they all have different, should I call it KPIs?
And they have targets, remember they have targets.
Yes, they have different KPIs. So they're looking at different things. I mean, CBN is looking at ensuring that foreign exchange is not leaving the country as much as it is. And customs is ensuring that adequate duty is being paid. FIRS is ensuring that, they collect as much taxes for government expenditure. So definitely the different KPIs it would definitely be a hindrance to them working together. But there's a need, irrespective of the KPIs, the objectives are the same. We want to ensure that the price that these goods are being imported are at market price and not overpriced. So the objective is the same. And so far the objective is the same. It's important that these agencies work together to arrive at a common methodology to determine these market prices for the benefit of the economy at large and for businesses.
And finally, Amaka, if we keep talking about diversifying the economy and increasing our non-oil exports, these issues need to be dealt with and on time too.
Definitely. And this particular issue is not the only issue where intergovernment agencies are reviewing the same thing. There are several other issues that government agencies need to also come together and arrive at a consensus for the benefit of the country.
All right. Thank you so much, Amaka Samuel Onyani, Associate Director, Transfer Pricing Services with Anderson. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Well, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll head to the markets. Do stay with us. This is Business Morning on Channels Television.